All right, good morning, sports. Why is this? This thing like resets. Sorry, this is so weird. I'm still here. Like it resets so far. I don't know why exactly. It's just a weird thing. Anyway, any hoozle. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay. We got our buddy boy over there. I am here. Parabellum. What's up, bud? Um, hey, I don't know if you've seen this. We're doing a little bizarre event is it next week? Week after that? I don't know. Soon. Stream element bot running. Oh, this will not. The fuck away from here. What is this? Fuck away from this. Remove. Fuck is you stream element? I'm using nothing. Oh, be attended. Yes, Parabellum. The bizarre. This is what a throwback. Okay. Ow. Ooh. Okay, I got gloves on. I got a coffee that was like piping hot. And now this guy here, folks, I have no clue. Like I bought this guy, this exact state. I just added some sand to the base to like make it. I have no clue. Like I'm guessing this is either skeleton bone or raid bone, like primer. I don't know. Okay. Oh, let's go. I don't have to lean anymore. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what to do with this. I have no plan. What's like this is very confusing. So unless like you guys have a very like unless you guys want something very specific, because I think we did a pre-resi one on the already on here, right? We did the Demon Prince. So I think maybe I have like an idea. The what's the stupid I have the concept of a plan here for this. But really, yeah, let's give the I have no clue like what to do with this. Like we could just reprime it black, I guess, but let's try something with this skeleton bone slash raid bone primer instead. Just to see if it fucks up, we'll start over on top of whatever we're doing now. So let's try something again with contrast paints just to see, because the fact that it's like so light will give the contrast paints a try. See if it plays into something that we like. Because I don't really. I'm not the biggest proponent of like priming in light colors unless you're keeping that color. But since I don't really want to keep this specific one, I'm just not too sure. Not too sure. We'll do next week. We'll do Space Wolves. Yep. Yeah, we'll do Space Wolves, so we can do the wizard guy, Najal, I think he's called, or we could do Ragnar. I think I have both of these, or like just a Steve the like a battle leader, I think they're called. So I'm thinking, I'm not gonna say request, but like we could, I don't know, we could do one of those things. Okay, well this airbrush is working. But for now, let's focus up on our boy Felthius over here, and we're gonna give this a so we're gonna do light passes of contrast just to see what's up with this. And the contrast I want to try is this one here. Is Gardakan Sewer. I call it Gallican for reasons I'm not going to explain today. But Gallican Sewer here, so it's like a brown with like a lot of like orange going through. So I'm interested in this one. My main issue with this one is it's darker than the other two that I would consider for this, which are like kind of skin tones ish. Um, and why I say it's a problem is we tried this and it doesn't work. We can't go lighter; it won't work. But I have a good, like I feel like we can do something like really grim dark or really like Ink 28 style with this color here, grim Gardecan sewer, basically, as I said. So we're just gonna give this like a big shake, and we're gonna get like I think like 2 light coats of this. So we could do this probably with a brush as well. I don't think you need the airbrush, but I don't, whatever. Yeah. See, this is like a kind of a goldeny. It's a really like the color by itself is really interesting. Well, we're getting 0 contrast effect, so this is essentially we're just gonna basically reprime this miniature in dark brown. Okay, so I don't. Okay, never mind this whole contrast affair. I don't think it. We dodge like this cloak situation, like maybe like not fully dodge it as like it was important, but maybe we don't give a shit about the cloak and we'll piece it together when we get there. This miniature is really grotesque. Like the model itself, like the sculpt and everything is really, really awkward. So that's what I don't like about lighter primer is that like now, right now we're kind of where these like pieces here, like the inside, if we don't paint them fully with this brown or whatever color we choose, it's gonna be a light beige color, and like that's really bad. Whereas if we had everything primed black or even this dark brown as like a primer, we would not be in this situation where if we don't paint it, it's gonna look dark brown and nobody will know. Like it would not stick out, so no, you would not really care that it was like not fully painted and whatnot. But because it's this light color, well, we have to do it like fully. And so that's a big no. That's like the main reason why I don't like this lighter primer color. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so the okay, well this was a boring. This was not a good test. That's okay. Sometimes some it is honestly it had been a while since we like failed something on stream, so it's kind of the law of averages is not so bad. Still on our side. Oh, and this guy's like sticky. Oh boy. Okay, this is rough. Wow. Okay. Oh, this guy is like clogged up the entire. Oh boy. Wow. We are not okay. This is not great. He clogged the entire. Wow. We are fucked. We are. Okay. Well, this is wow. The double whammy. Not the effect we want, and the airbrush is like having major issues with this. Ooh. Well, fuck me, eh? Okay. Oh, we're so okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're back. There we go. Okay. Well, can't win them all. That's okay. We'll use this. Maybe I'll get a brush and I'll like kind of fill in the holes and whatnot. We won't use the airbrush for now. We'll dabble with some other techniques for a quick bits here. Yeah, let's just like play fill in. We'll keep the airbrush like close by, but we'll give it a quick rest. It's sort of clean right now, and then we'll pick this the weird brush that's like super long bristles, and are still the same contrast, but we're just gonna use it to like fill in these gaps that the airbrush was not great at like reaching. Like you can see it here, like in the neck joint, the popped collar situation, like so. Maybe we do this little bowling ball. Well, I don't. Again, mostly interested in the recesses. The top parts don't really concern me too much. Because I'd rather have like too much brown and then it won't matter too much. Whereas if we have like recesses that are too light, it's not gonna not work in our favor. Because this like um if we disregard how we got to this point, this is not like a bad, like it's a dark brown primer essentially. So like a lot of my paint jobs start on this, like not this exact brown, but like a darker color or a darker like shade of brown. It is probably, you know, a very good base coat. And like I've done like hundreds, if not thousands, of models that way. So like we're not, you know, this is not like a complete failure of like, oh, we need to restart. It's just what I thought was gonna happen with this contrast is not what we got. Um, but we'll just adapt. If it was part like of an army or something, maybe we would have been more trouble. But it's not. Dude, he is just a dude. And you know, and there's like a maybe, you know, maybe we could have painted it the same way as we did like Francois Mini, and then send him a message and try to go for the hard sale. But I'm not that kind of. You know, we could have maybe it would have worked. You know, you do a mall and they paint in the same scheme as somebody's army, and you go, hey, painted a guy, it looks like your army. Do you want it? No, we'll just paint this guy the way that pleases us right now. If we have a buyer, eventually we have a buyer. If we don't, matter. I don't want to paint in my scheme as well. My scheme is pretty unsellable. It's like turquoise dead guard. Nobody wants that except me. Crazy person. I'm the crazy one. Okay, so this should be. Let's just get sight situation. 411. So I mean, this it's a cool. Like the color is interesting. It's just again, the color is interesting. It's just not what I thought would happen with it. That's, you know, that maybe if we thinned it down a lot more, that might have been the key. Whereas I barely thinned it down. So yeah, that might have been the issue that we ran into, was not really the, you know, obviously it's not the paint's fault because it's, you know, it's an inanimate object. Like you're the responsible one in this situation. But oh my god, oh, this is so hot. Oh, it hurts so good. Okay, sorry. Okay. I was trying not to like slurp on camera. um. Oh, right. So now where do we go next? Well. Well. We'll take the airbrush back, and we'll take some like tusk gore fur. I think that's interesting. Yeah, this got like now we're gonna dip into this like this is orangish. Like this is almost like skin tone and brown, like brown and like a lot of skin tone. Um, it's got like this red and orange tones to it. I like one of my favorite colors for sure. Like because this one and Doom Bull Brown, they work like really well together. And then we'll get our airbrush again. Now let's see. Let's go. Come on now. There's some left. I know there's some left. Okay, third time the charm. Alright, so for this stream is kicking off great, guys. This is starting off strong. Not for us, but for entertainment. You know, not from a painting perspective, but definitely from an entertainment perspective, like watch some guys struggle to paint minis, you know? You know, different kind of content. Can't judge too much. Okay, well this is on the thicker side for sure. This guy is very thick. It's you know, it works out in our favor. It's like pretty thick because we don't want this to be runny. That way we can keep our the sewer thing going. Okay, so we got some of that brown, and so we're just gonna do like let's just give it like a rough highlight first. Okay, so just a really rough, like almost zenithal highlight. And we'll just do the entire mini. We don't really care about. Need to we don't need to be dainty about anything. We just do the full affair. Okay, and this is much closer to what I thought would kind of happen with the sewer. Maybe more. This is more like a chocolate type of color that the contrast alone usually does. But we get like a good we get some sort of like again some sort of contrast, I guess. And then we'll just add like little specks of like a little bit more brown to this. This little the lighter brown, and we'll just add like some more. Right. And we have some, you know, some brown spots, some lighter browns, but this is okay. We're okay. This is sort of good, And now, now I'm gonna put paint everywhere except where I need it. Oh, it's because the lids flipped on me when I was. I don't. This is. Oh my. Oh, what a stream! What a stream so far, guys. Well, at some point we'll recover from this all. Okay, now we don't need this airbrush for now. Maybe later we want to add some glowy shenanigans to it, and by maybe I mean we do. So we'll get it for that, but until that point, we are good. Okay, And this, so I'm just gonna clean this airbrush like real quick. We're gonna rinse it, not really clean it because I don't. We don't need the full clean because again, we're definitely gonna use it some sooner rather than later. So okay, it's just fine. Just so it doesn't dry in there. There we go. We'll get some more paper towels. What you guys up to? You guys been painting? I'm into. I started like the longest task of a like I haven't been posting a whole lot of stuff because I'm doing the Cathay army and I did the longest part first because that's usually the smart thing to do. But it's been kicking my ass motivation wise as it's so long and so uneventful. So it's so I've been painting Cathay, but I'm almost like I'm today for sure. I'm finishing all the infantry for Cathay, which is like a big chunk of the army. Which is like probably like 80%, maybe not 80, but like it's a big chunk of the army. So that's like really cool. And then this will also mean I get to move to something different sooner, rather than later, like soon enough. And then the air balloons are started, and I have a bunch of space wolves. I have terrain for some. Lots of stuff going on here, but then we have this guy here, and this guy's making a fool of ourselves so far. So let's try to turn the tide on this nature. So we got big dry, well, medium size, I guess, dry brush. And then this is lead belcher. I'm trying to remove the excess. One. And much like the brown, we're just gonna dry brush the whole affair, and then we'll figure out later what we want to. This is what I was like interested in getting earlier. Is this kind of effect here, like lots of brown and then some silver. The real highlight is essentially silver. So that's a fun one. Ah yes, this is what I wanted. I like this. So we're kind of like back on. We didn't get there the way I thought we would get there, but we're kind of back on track with what I was hoping to do with the miniature. I think this is what Bob Ross would call like a happy little accident. Whereas, yeah, you know, like it didn't start the way we wanted, but we got there to you know the ending. So oh, and we just ripped through the. Wow. Okay, this is bad. This is like 2 layers of paint that just peeled off. Wow, that sucks. Okay, we'll stop it. The fuck is wrong? Oh, Maron, this miniature is making a fool. Oh my god. Okay, well, this is. It's fine. We'll fix it. What? Oh my god. What again? Okay, this is rough, guys. I don't know if it's maybe it's the brush that's like a little bit too rough. Because I feel like I'm not really like pushing on it, so it feels weird that the paint is like chipping. Wow, this is. Oh, it's probably because the contrast is like it takes like longer to dry, probably. Then again, it's weird because it dried in the fucking airbrush really quickly. So why won't you dry on the miniature? I don't know. I don't know. An interesting one. Anyway, well, it will fix this. It sucks that it happens, but I get too attached to the outcome. Okay, about to fucking repaint over that part. Okay, well, like the idea is interesting, and of course we'll have to sort this whole situation out, but for the most part, like the idea is I like where this is, I like where this is taking us. So now, if we keep trying our contrast thing, because I'm a big fan of like trying stuff out. Because now, if we try the contrast and it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world, because I have like a kind of a plan B. I have like a an alternative that does not matter that we did the contrast first, but I do want to keep trying different like contrasting thingy. So that's what we're gonna try out. Because like so far, like obviously the first contrast like step is not the best, but that's okay. Because like right now, everything we've achieved, we could have done realistically with regular paint, right? It's like it's two coats of like airbrushing and then a dry brush. So that's not really. We didn't do any contrast per se, but now we are gonna. Mind. Okay. So now we're gonna try contrast. We're gonna just try to do the leg here, the front leg. And if it sucks, we'll just repaint it with like normal, regular paint. And this is the Gut Ripper contrast. So again, I feel like we're not getting a lot of this like contrast effect on the mini. Like we don't get any of the silver to shine through. This is very lackluster. So we're gonna go again a different route for this. It doesn't matter. So we're not gonna use this. We are going to use Games Workshop Castellan Green instead, which is like the army, basically army green. It's army green does not cover too well from my past experience with army painter. The only difference being the army painter army green comes in a shaker can, and that is great. So this one, Castellan green is a little bit darker than army green, but it covers like a motherfucker. So bonus. Also, this technique that we're doing would like get a bigger benefits, bigger like bonus or upside. We'll get a bigger upside if we would to prime with black or with dark brown than with the green anyway. So now I'm doing it basically what I was doing with the contrast paint, but with this grain. So I'm leaving all of the trims and everything in the brown, but then I'm trying to do I'm also trying to leave all the gaps in the armor with brown. I don't want to cover these up much. And this is a very like easy kind of thing to paint. You really don't need a whole lot. As long as you're like careful for the one step that we're doing now, really, because the brown's the most important color because we're leaving a lot of it in there, but the brown's also like the simplest one to do. There was no skill. It was just like a huge brush that we used, and then like dry brushing essentially. Because the step that we did with the airbrush, like the lighter brown, the tusk gore, we could do that with like a sponge, or we could even do that with like some more dry brush. Like a very heavy dry brush is stupidly simple, and it would convey kind of the same kind of effect. So like right now we're heading towards the dead guard, like a closer look to dead guard than what we had going on with the all brown look. But like I'm still keeping a lot of the brown. I think that's it's also one of those like, well, we have like lots of like trims and everything to do, but realistically we're just painting around the trims. We're not doing any actual trim. Top part here, one is like on this to be like a trim, which I think we do. Is the bonus of this is again the stuff that's like unpainted that we really don't paint or that we can't paint because it's like in a deep recess. It's still gonna be brown and rusty and everything. That's the cool part about like this grim dark thing is like you get a lot of like leeway with your technique and everything. If you like if you plan it right, because otherwise it just looks too messy. But Dead Guard is kind of the very like forgiving scheme for being messy. We're not gonna do any of that chimney stuff. All this brownish color, and then we'll do this hand. Right. Got like kind of our two main colors are kind of on there, right? We have the green and the rusty brown thing. So we're kind of on the way to something. I think the next step, we're gonna highlight this green just one time, just really quickly. Let's use this color is called Death Guard Green. I feel like that's appropriate for this miniature. Something, I don't know, something feels right about using this color. I don't know exactly what, but I think it makes sense. Is there a brush that is? Yes, this guy is like kind of trashy. So we're gonna keep doing simple techniques. Like we could like feather this in, and we could like sponge this in. There's like a lot of things that we could. We're just gonna dry brush this dead guard thing. Again, just because not everything needs to be like an advanced. You don't need like advanced techniques to do good models. So I'm kind of gonna keep with that attitude, and we're gonna keep doing all simple stuff throughout this entire painting process. And you know, if you're like kind of following along, or you like this, and you go, oh well, I'd do that, but then you're dumbing it down. Well, you know, instead of dry brushing here, just do something else. Feather this in, you know, layer it in or sponge it in. You can do whatever. It's not the boss of you. But also, if you don't care, you're like you don't feel like you're good at painting, you don't feel confident about dry brushing or about doing anything more than dry brushing for like precision's sake. Don't. This means he's not gonna look bad because we're not doing advanced techniques. Could it look better? Maybe. But definitely could look worse because if we try this and we suck at it, well, that's a bummer. Oh fuck! Forgot one foot. Entire left. Well, his our right, his left. Right. And we really don't have too much more grain to give the foot some time to dry. We don't want to. So even if we're dry brushing, we can almost do like almost in hedge eye where we don't dry brush the whole place, but we dry brush all of the like kind of the sides, right, or the edges, and then it does this hedge highlighting for us. It would drive our friend, the green wombat completely nuts because he's doing it the art fashion way. And more power to him. We're not maniacs like him with the edge highlights. We can cheat, we'll cheat. We're allowed to. When it comes to painting, allowed. Sometimes it's encouraged even. Okay. So I'm pretty stoked with this. So we get a good like kind of a some sort of like definition through all of these colors. We could even take it lighter if we wanted to. We ain't no rules against it. And the bonus of like taking this much lighter is that if we can add some more colors to this whole affair, some more shading, then we with deep shading would be set for a lot more for a lot more depth, right? Because we take it super light and then we have like a much lighter color, so we'd have a wider contrast of colors. Excuse me. Whew. Okay. So now we need like some sort of like accent color for the these little. Well, these little doodads we don't really need to accent it because if we're keeping this grim dark type thing, they could stay brown. But I do feel like we need something for the mini. Hold on, let's see. Let's think about this. Well, we can do the cable. I guess the cables is kind of the next good option. Or what about now? Let's just black. We'll take Black Templar contrast paint and we'll do all of the cables in there. And again, we're trying another. Again, we're trying again to sneak some contrast in there. Might work, might not work. So what I'm hoping it does is we get like a very deep black into all of these vents, but some of it stays brown. And so we get to keep kind of this brown like base coat that we got going on into the cables. And then again, this is another case of the if it works, it's cool because that's what we were going for. If it doesn't work and it's all like black, it's also fine because like it would have been black anyway. So the alternative to this contrast thing that we're trying, it would be painted black. So if it's if we painted black by mistake, well, really haven't lost much. And the reason why I want to do this and try to keep this is because the brown gives us like a very like earthy kind of highlight to this. So like the color that we get is not bluish like sometimes I do, which is one of my favorite way I guess of doing these cables. The joints is like with a kind of a bluish black, but this does not really suit our muted and brown Inquisition 28 type of look. The super like grim dark style. So we're not. And like so this here, this is the biggest like challenge to this whole like technique is you want to be very very clean with everything that you paint once you're kind of done with this like big base coat, because this effect is really messy but kind of easy to do. But now if we fuck it up, like if we put like black by accident on something, touching this up is kind of a like not impossible, but it's like a very big challenge. So as much as possible, we want to avoid having to do any kind of touch up. So that's where I think the biggest drawback of all these like fill in the blank techniques is if you fuck up during the fill in the blank like section, it's bummer. Whereas with some other schemes, really the goal is to kind of plan around. Let's say we make a mistake. How do we make this easy to fix? Whereas this is not that. This is if we fuck up, we're gonna shed one manly tear and be on our way. We can't get too hung up on it, but we'll get some hung up. Okay. Next up, maybe we do skin tone. So we'll take there's a bunch of ways to do this. Again, I'm trying to think of like a simple, because for skin tone I would like to do the actual like skin. Like this guy is like obviously not wearing a helmet because he's ugly as sin, so it doesn't matter. Whereas it could happen is like a bullet might fix him. But then the tentacles as well is kind of like my thought process is like how do we want to do the tentacles. And so maybe we try to kind of stick this with again our dry brush technique, and we go maybe heavier a little bit on the tentacles so that we can contrast them with pink and then possibly even purple. So this is Cadian flesh tone. I think Kislev would also make sense. Kislev is very very muted tone, very light. But we're gonna try just again because I like I like the skin to be skin colored. not just like necessarily dead flesh. Which is, to me, Kislev flesh is what it looks like. It's almost like the base of like a rotten flesh. Like, I get it, it's supposed to be because they're from... Okay. Now we kind of hunt for tentacles. There's not that many, because like these are parts of the cloak. And we could do the inside of the cloak in like skin tones as well, because it's kind of what it looks like dead skin or whatever. There's honestly, there's not that many tentacles to begin with. Well, like again, we're doing the tentacles first because they're kind of a non-negotiable, and then once we see how much hot tentacle action we have, then we can kind of choose what we want to do with the rest of this stuff. Because the inside of the cloak can be like many, like I think it wouldn't look nice with like skin tone because that's really like it's a disgusting thing when you think about it. But it would look nice in like a whole other slew of colors. So we could keep bone color as well. Excuse me, it was a very short night. Yeah, a bunch of options here. Bunch of options. I mean, this is like we're like I think we're doing like some interesting like grim dark section on this, and then the glowy stuff is really kind of what the biggest deal with all of this is like how do we tackle the glowy stuff. So let's get a slightly bigger brush. This one's too small. And we'll do the inside of the cloak the same kind of the same way we're doing this right now, which is like we're gonna dry brush our skin tone on it. Make good use of our brown base coat. And this one side that I'm doing right now is probably why I don't like this dry brush too much. Is like this color step is like very chalky. Like because we're going from a very dark color to a very light color, we get like this super chalky feel to the mini. And on organic stuff like skin, it looks a little bit weird. So that's probably like the one drawback of doing like dry brushing everything all the time, like only dry brush. It's like only fans, but for dry brushing people. But like well, with the only dry brush like technique, you get like this chalky result or this chalky like texture on stuff that probably should not feel too chalky, right? So it's one of the drawbacks, but we're getting we're getting somewhere with this. And we'll try to fix it with more dry brush and maybe sneaking in a shade afterwards. And I guess this side we'll have to redo because there's like skin kind of overlapping, I guess, on this side. And then here on this one that I'm doing now, there were metallic colors on it, but because the skin dry brush is much heavier than the metallic dry brush that was on there, it won't matter and it won't show through just because we're putting more skin tone than there was then there was metallics, so it won't come through at all. The fact that like we're just basically covering up some metallics, even though this color is far from opaque, it's gonna be opaque enough because the dry brush is always gonna hit the same spots. If you do the exact same dry brush at some point, it's gonna be like practically invisible because what you're doing is only applying it like almost exactly to the same spot. And so if you're heavier, the same raised area that you were doing when we were lighter, you still hit those. It's just you hit like a broader range, but the raised areas they stay the same. So we would always hit those. Like I can do this for like 30 minutes. It's probably not gonna change anything because I'm not adding any color and I'm not like creating any recesses into the mini. So that's why dry brush is such a kind of an easy technique, is you really don't have to think. It kind of does it for you. Like if I don't do this dry brush, maybe I can't quite figure out where my highlight should be. Well, the dry brush kind of figures it out for you. Not perfect, but it gives you a good. Right. Because the idea now, the reason why I'm doing all of this is I'm trying to not really add any, like I'll say, bold colors to this mini, just so that our glowy color can be kind of the only bold thing. So I'm trying to keep everything like down to earth in terms of color, just so that our glowy color, whatever it is going to be really like, it's going to set everything else apart because it's going to be a very muted guy. So we're gonna use our Doom Bull. So Doom Bull is probably gonna be the main, like the so far is gonna be the biggest color that we add into this mini, and we're just gonna redo the little belt. I don't know what to call those. Got like these leathery things. So I don't want to really add like too much color, and I want to keep kind of the same vibe that we got going, but at the same time, this needs to be like a different color. Otherwise, it's all too similar. And then this would have been also like an interesting color choice for the inside of the cloak. Like if the skin tone was not what I was looking for, I think this would have been like a pretty good a good second choice. Right. 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 So now what we got, we have Steel Legion Drab, and so we're gonna do the horns, and we're also gonna do kind of the cloak, a big chunk of the cloak and the hair, like a fur. I guess. I don't know. The cloak on this mini, the cloak is really weird. Like it looks like the fur is like textured really weirdly. So I think this miniature is like a little bit confusing. It's one of those like push fit guys that they sold. Oh, we should have done the. We'll come back to our Doom Bull thing to do the hockey tape around the site. Okay. And then these big. And in these big horns, we have like a bunch of different ways of doing them. I have a good idea of what I want to do. Again, we're gonna keep everything simple. This is one of those tutorials of like all these techniques. So we're not doing anything that's like crazy on any of this stuff. If we feel like it, maybe the most complex thing might be the glowy stuff if we decide to reuse the airbrush, which, yeah, I'm leaning towards yes, just because it's gonna look nicer, but also we could do, like, we could keep the glowy stuff to like a minimum of glowiness and still do kind of vibrant colors on it, just to keep our like simple theme going. Because like really, this, you would need like a colored primer, and you could achieve this miniature. You probably don't need an airbrush like at all, or maybe even like a cheap spray gun, like a super basic spray gun, and you just like zenithal spray your tusk gore fur, and you get like a very similar result. It'll be a little bit like rougher, but I don't think rough is like rough in like a Dead Guard mini like this, or like a scheme that's like super grim dark like this. It's not the biggest like deal breaker, right? Like, oh, this technique too rough. Well, this look is rough, you know. It's a tough look for tough mini played by tough people. Not everybody's a big softy like me that wants to play turquoise little bit. No. This is the real deal for real people. Right. Got this, and then we could use like a bigger. But I'm kind of like not scared. I'm not gonna say scared. You know, I'm not. You know, hey, I'm not scared. Okay. But I'm kind of keeping the cloak for like later. I kind of want to see where everything's at, because the fur can be like a lot of things. So I'm not. Yeah, I think because we could go for a darker color as well, and kind of ooh, almost like dry brush this one instead of doing a base coat of this and then dry brushing something lighter. Yeah, there's multiple avenues, so I'm kind of like keeping the cloak for a little bit later in this process of painting. And I'm just redoing the little like hockey tape situation. Yeah, I dig all of this. Like I'm a fan of where this miniature's going. Again, the cloak definitely not where it's at, but we're getting there. Okay, let's just take. We'll take a quick second to do some extra details. So we'll take our skin color. Now we're not doing dry brush technique. We're just gonna do good old hold your breath while you paint, because this is tiny details technique. Patent pending. Yeah, we're just gonna do some of these little like I don't know what they're called. Like zits, I guess. I don't know. This guy doesn't have like too many, but like a lot of the Nurgle models, they have a lot of those going. So we're just gonna take our time a little bit. Sure. Handful here. One last step I kind of just noticed now. So I'm right now I'm doing kind of as much like touching up as I can before moving to the next step. And the reason is, again, we're kind of now we're at a stage where the colors that are kind of remaining can be multiple colors. Like we don't have to kind of lock in into one thing. Whereas like like the cable is going to be like a cable color. So there's no point in not doing the cables right now because they're not going to change color. But then this fur, it can be like a whole lot of different things. Like it doesn't need to be brown or beige or gray. Like it can be, whereas all this other stuff was kind of a little bit more like forced into whatever it is that was uh, colored. Sorry, I'm not making any sense today, guys. Like I'm trying to. I'm trying. I hope this makes sense, but the words that are coming out of my mouth, oof, it's rough. But I don't know. But I like where this little dead guard feller is going. So we're gonna keep at it. Yeah, let's. Okay, enough dillying or dallying. We're gonna take a bigger brush. Well, we'll keep this guy, keep this gentleman going, and we'll use our Steel Legion. We'll do the friggin' fur thing. Ain't no. Come on now. Enough. Enough talking about it, right? Let's just take action and then we'll revisit because that's also none of this stuff is permanent. We don't like it, repaint it. Not a big deal. And this, like, because we're using a bunch of these like simple technique, this is not heading into like one of those long paint jobs, okay? Which is like a good thing. Not all. You don't need to take like in years to. It's like, and you have the thing. This guy is like way longer. If you paint like an entire army in this way, it's probably very fast because this guy has like a fuck ton of details. Like a plague marine. Plague marines are like detailed little infantry minis, and they probably have like half of this of what's going on with this fella. So even though this guy takes time, if you do like all of your like death shroud and all of your noise, not noise marines are different. All your plague marines at the same time, like all together, you save like a fuck ton of time. And so this scheme that maybe is a little bit longer on this lord, it's piece of cake when you get to the main thing. And really, we're using this shitty small brush because I'm out of a bigger brush. I need to buy one later today. Going to Estion store next door. I have to pick up a couple of things. I'm gonna swing by there. Maybe not immediately after, some point after. Also primer, some primer. Right. Okay. So now we got the fur thing going. We got like almost all of our like colors are on there. So we're doing pretty good. The main thing is like we need one accent color, and that's not anywhere on this mini. And that's kind of the not the next step per se because we're gonna do some more work, but it's gonna be the last thing to kind of figure out is what glowy stuff we want, and there's a lot of options you guys can pick really. Um, because pink would not look stupid, purple would not look stupid, turquoise is interesting. Then we can have like blue turquoise, we can have green turquoise. They both look kind of interesting. Or there's a big case to make for orange. So I think one of those is like the next thing that we want to do. So if you guys have like a favorite from all of this, you know, just we'll pick that. I think ain't no, this is not like a really big deal. I don't think. I like it. It's a big deal. It's gonna change the model drastically, but all of these colors they wouldn't make sense. So like, there's no. I think maybe the weakest one is green turquoise that's leaning towards the green just because we already have like a lot of green and our goal is to the goal is really to pop this color, so it makes sense to not use the same, to not use like a color that's like mainly on the mini, right? Like all of our stuff is like green. Same thing, like orange is also probably the second weakest just because there's so much brown, and brown, like a lot of the brown leans into the orange, so it's probably kind of the next like bad choice. You know, left to my own devices, I'm leaning towards pink. Because also pink fits with tentacles and stuff, which is interesting. Okay, so for these orange, I'm doing something kind of weird. This is practically the dry brush technique, but instead of going like super hard at it, I'm only doing brush strokes that are towards the bottom of the horns or spikes or whatever you want to call these, and I'm working my way up. I'm never like, I'm not touching the mini, bottom to top, bottom to top. And so this kind of creates like a line pattern on it without me even trying, just because like by the nature of things. And so I just build it up, and then I'll do like two or three passes like all around of bottom to top, bottom to top. And this is, again, there's no precision really involved. This is just a dry brush technique, but applied in a really odd way. So it's you know, it's a little bit more time consuming, but it's not harder at all. To think slightly about what you're doing instead of just going freaking ballistic on the mini. Slight restraint. It's a shame, right? Like we have ink when we paint minis. What is this? But really, like there's not something complex at all. Oh, Mr. Dwarf, what is up? So this, doing the horns here first, is also giving us, well, second, because we decide first. It's also giving us, giving the cloak some time to dry, so our cloak is going to be easier, because the cloak is going to be like a real dry brush. You know, just go. We're going to keep using this shitty little guy here. We're getting our $5 worth. This brush is a $5 brush. Oh, tell ya. We're getting our money's worth today only. Putting this guy through it. But I do need to go pick up brushes, so that's... like I need like a big, like a chunky boy. We ran through all the chunky guys with the last, like... Well, I guess doing like 3 Knights armies in a row was like a... the death sentence for the big brushes, because that's like the small details on the knight you do with a big brush, because it's like big cables and then big trims. Yeah, so there's really no. We just put them through. We didn't waste them. They've been used. Not my fault knights are popular, and that all my best clients are power gamers. I don't make the rule. Uh, okay, okay. I mean, we're definitely like we're in the right ballpark now. We're missing like just something. Now we're missing something to make this stand out, which is going to be our fun color. But really, everything else is kind of where we want it. What we could do next is just add like a quick highlight on our like leathery. I don't know what they're called, like the bell thing and the little thingies here. And then we do have to touch up the outside of the cloak. That's like skin. That part we did not really do. We'll do that we'll get like a base coat on that. We'll use, I think dried bark is pretty close to because like we want to mimic the effect that's on the other side, right? So we'll do dried bark, and then we'll dry brush our what's the color that we dusk gore fur, and then we'll dry brush like our skin tone on top of this. Just so that this part and this part are kind of the same. Where I think I think we'll probably be good with just this and the skin tone dry brush. If you don't do like a super drab mini like what we're doing, putting this into like some sort of like color is probably very interesting. You can get like a sweet little accent. Like a lot of Dead Guard, they have like a purple accent because that's the main, purple and green work kind of well together. Right. So now we've got like kind of the skin side, the skin part of this like cloak kind of all figured out. And then so now we have to choose because the my idea from a moment back is to just take like a brush that's like this large, like a this size, and then just give this guy a Grox Earthshade bath. Like if I could dip this into a Grox Earthshade, that's probably what I would do. That's how much I think it would do good. However, we could also just use a bunch of different shades on different part of this mini to get kind of a more varied look. And where I think it makes the biggest difference is in this cloak thing, where the skin tone and the fur tone are going to look very similar if they have the same wash on top of them, because they're right next to one another and they're very close in tone already. So if we just make both of these brown, we're going to lose a little bit of what makes them like different colors. The drawback of doing multiple shades is that we're losing a little bit of that grim dark effect that's like mainly brown, for lack of a better. Like, I know it's not the only way to paint grimdark is to put it brown, but it is definitely a vibe. And who are we to fight against a vibe, you know? So maybe what we do is we, instead of going completely batshit with the shading, is we take a medium-sized brush, or this. Let's go back to this gentleman right here, and then we do piece by piece of rocks just to see where it takes us, and then maybe we change our mind halfway through or something, right? So we'll start. We'll start with like the brown, I think. No, let's start with the skin tone. The skin tone makes more sense because there is almost no way that the skin tone does not get this brown shading. So let's start with that. Okay, we'll start with the face here. And we'll also do the brown part, the brown with the silvery highlight. We'll also do the green. Like, plenty of brown to go around. This brush is not good. This brush is terrible. Never. This is not a rebuy for sure. So we're gonna do basically. Right now we're gonna do all of the colors except the vents and the fur with this brown. So there's gonna be, and maybe not the horns as well. The horns we're gonna keep a little for now. Thinker about this. We're gonna think before we. But everything else we're gonna do a Groxer shade. And if I had a bigger brush, I would probably use it. No, I don't. Die more controlled. Now we get like a very yes. Now we get like a dark color. Yes, okay, I'm on board with this. I like this. Definitely, we. I don't think this is meant. I think if we stopped before that, we maybe just did the wash on a couple of things, it would also work. I kind of like this, getting the darkness. Because also the one thing to consider is the brown shade that we're doing now is gonna once it dries is gonna change a little bit. It's not gonna look this. It still keeps a little bit of the wet color, but realistically, the way it dries is it pools in different areas, so it's gonna look less like one coat of brown everywhere and more focused. All these details, that's really weird. Like all these crevices in the armor, that's really where it gets interesting because now we get like a lot more depth into those. Without actually trying, mind you, that's probably the best part. Is like this is again, ain't nobody pulling like a muscle doing this. Okay, this is all very basic stuff. We're not doing any hard techniques. I'm still trying to dodge these tentacles section here. Even though the skin tone we want to do with the, even though the skin tone we do want to make with a Grox shade, the tentacle parts I would like to keep pink because I'm really leaning into the pink glowy colors, and so we can have the tentacles having some of the pink. That makes this interesting. Because you have to think some of the mini, if this was like an army, like a part of an army, the army would not all minis would have like a lot of glowy stuff on them. So getting other areas to have the same like accent colors is a good You know, it's a good thing. So for like a random like plague marine, we could have like the pink lenses on the eyes, but also a bunch of them have tentacles. So now we have some pink spliced into them, even if they don't have like power weapons or oozing whatevers, you know. Which you'd think is a prerequisite for Nurgle minis, but no, some of them don't have oozing stuff. Shockingly enough, I'm as disappointed by this as you are, mind you. But it is what it is. So this whole section again, we're dodging the fur for now. The fur we have options again to make it stand out from the rest of them, or from the skin tone that's right next to it. And those options are probably Reclin Flesh Shade or Seraphim Sepia. But they might also be a contrast paint. I'd give it, you know, it's been like almost 20 minutes since I've used a contrast paint on this, so. Then again, the pink is going to be contrasty. You guys know I love me some Volupus pink. Volupus pink is, you know, I definitely needed a big brush for that, but the effect is nice. It takes us longer to get there, but the effect is nice. But we get nothing from using a smaller brush here. But this is really just because I ran through my bigger brushes that were doing this. It's not like not like smart. It's not for like a specific effect or anything. It's really should not be using. Okay. Oh yeah. This okay. Yeah. And we can see like the difference between the main guy and this hand is kind of interesting because now you can see like it's all like kind of coming together, whereas this hand is a little bit more, you know, like the green is like very is like different than the bone, like not it's a different like kind of tone or finish from the metallics and everything, whereas now once we add the brown shade on everything, we get like a very unified, not monochromatic look, but like a very unified color scheme, and it ties everything together really. Like that's why like this brown shade works so well is because it ties everything together. As long as all your colors are kind of in the same like palette or the same range of tonality, like you don't have like super high or super low color, like super bright and super, well, even bright doesn't matter too much. But if you don't have like super light colors and super dark colors, they're all gonna kind of be on the same tone afterwards, and then your model is gonna look much tighter, even if you used a bunch of different colors. Again, today's not a good day for explanation. I'm saying lots of nonsense. I apologize. I'm like it make in my head this whole affair made sense, but it didn't come out quite as sensible as. It's that's why we're painting a simple mini today. Some days paint a simple mini. Oh, I don't know why I'm fucking dodging this like chimney situation. You thought you'd pull a sneaky on me, little chimney, but no, I see right through you. That's right. Okay, so do we need? Well, we definitely need to kind of finish this. So we'll do. Hmm. Yeah, we'll do different things. Let's dabble. Let's dabble on some stuff here. Okay, so first, yeah, let's get some bunch of colors. Again, we're not gonna. So we'll get Guilliman Flesh, and we'll get Black Templar is still somewhere here. Yeah, Black Templar. Guilliman Flesh, Black Templar. Do we have a brown? Yeah. Okay. Guilliman, Fire Slayer, Black. That's triple contrast plan. Again, it's a lot of colors, but it's simple. That what we're gonna do with those. And then, is there a big argument against doing this in fucking brown? Thing there, I don't think it will look half bad. Let's just do brown. Let's not complicate this. Let's just do brown. If it doesn't work, oh, if it's too similar, we'll just re-dry brush some bone color on top of it. That'll probably just, yeah. If this shading on the fur doesn't work out like the way we want, or if it's like too monochromatic with the flesh tone next to it, we can just re-dry brush some skeleton horde or skeleton bone, whatever, bone color on top of it, and then that will kind of fix all of this for us. Yeah, maybe there from Sepia would have been like a sensible choice because it's lighter, but it's also like a lot of yellow, and we don't really have any of that yellow anywhere else on the mini, so that's really the yellow like tint is really what made me not do it. And also because I want to do the horns a different way, just because I can. Well, maybe I can. I don't even know. I want to try something. So, you know, hey, that's why I paint these stream things. I can try stuff, and then you guys get to see, like, you get to scroll ahead and see if it worked. And you can go, oh well, he tried it and it did work. So we can also try it in the comfort of our own home. And if it doesn't work, well, you don't need to trash your own miniatures because I trash my own miniatures for you not to. You know, in the end, it all works out. Not have that, honestly. I was thinking it would be maybe too monochromatic, but it's like we still get like a good difference. We'll let it dry again. Once it dries, it usually once this dries, it usually changes slightly. So now what we're gonna do on these little horn situation, we have 3 contrast paints, and then essentially what we want is to keep 1/4 of the horns that way, or maybe 2/3 even, and then we'll paint our like Guilliman flesh from like here to the top, and then our Fire Slayer from here to the top, and then our black from like here to the top. And we'll do this in kind of the same way that we did the dry brush, where we'll put like not a whole lot of contrast on our brush, and then we'll just paint in like upward strokes. Okay, so we'll start with like here, about here. This is Guilliman flesh. Oh, I'm going kind of haphazardly, not a precise endeavor. Same thing again on the other. Almost work better in the opposite direction. You know what? That's right. So we'll do the exact opposite actually. Do towards the base, right? So we'll start, I don't know, 2/3 of the way up or something like that. We'll work downward. So I'm always painting down. Yeah, that's gonna look better. Okay. It's one, then that's way smarter actually. But then this also, I mean, we probably don't need to use Black Templar. Probably Null Oil is going to do just a better job at the very end there. And you can kind of vary where you start and where you end on this. That's kind of the fun effect, this whole affair. But again, we're not. I'm not really doing anything crazy with any of this. This is not really like a skill thing, I think. The key really is just to start somewhere and go down. You don't want to move your brush like basically up with paint on it on the mini. Every time my brush comes up, I'm not touching the model itself. Right, so now this effect is like, well, 3-color, I guess, because we did the dry brush thing first, but we're really starting to get like the idea behind it. So now we're gonna do Fire Slayer Flesh, and we're gonna do basically the same thing, but we're gonna leave a little bit of that. We're gonna leave a little bit of that that Guilliman thing showing through. And Fire Slayer is like a significantly darker. Fire Slayer Flesh is probably the color we should have used instead of Gardecan Sewer. I don't want to pull too much, like right here. There was like a lot of it on the model. And you can see now, because these colors are way transparent and way similar to one another, now we're gonna get like a very smooth coat. So that's gonna give us like a super easy color transition where you barely see, like you barely see anywhere like where we started and where we ended. You do it right and you leave enough going through, you'll get like a very, like, it's straightforward. It's not like, again, it's not the most like technically proficient, but it gives us like the exact effect that we're looking for. And then we're not, again, for this, I think if I want to do a little bit more high end, I would use Black Templar. But I don't. I want to keep all of these techniques simple, so we're not going to do Black Templar. But what we are going to do now is we're going to do the little tentacles with pink. And we'll do thin down voluptuous, or actually let's do just let's do Caribou Crimson. That's gonna give us like a lighter shade, and then on the actual pink, then we're gonna go for the contrast. This is just gonna give again, because the color underneath is this skin tone. This Caribou Crimson, even though it's supposed to be red, is definitely gonna look pink, just because when you put like white and red together, somehow you get pink. Magic, you know. Oh, there's one. Almost forgot. And you could do all of these in the same color. Like you could just use like the pink like glowy color if you wanted to. You could do that. Ain't nobody stopping you. But I like having a little difference between this and like the smoke thing that's on top. I want to have like a little different vibe to them. But we're gonna keep the Caribou Crimson is a really nice color. We're gonna keep it around for. And now we're gonna use pink ore, and this needs a good shake. Pretty opaque, even though this is like a layer and it's light pink. It's usually pretty opaque. Should do a good job. Oh, we're not gonna take that one. It's Okay. It's fine. Nothing that this might actually be better. So Screamer Pink is what we're gonna take instead. Yeah, it's probably nicer. We're gonna get like a deeper contrast with all of this. And now we're gonna do all of the like the oozing stuff and the smoke thingies. I know pink is not for everybody, but it fits so nicely with the Nurgle colors because it contrasts really well with green. Like if you really don't like this, I would go for purple as like the next like logical choice. And if you also don't like purple, then I would go for turquoise. And if you don't like any of these three colors, well, maybe don't paint Nurgle stuff. I'm just kidding. You can paint whatever you want. Not like gatekeeping fucking Nurgle just because bold, flashy colors. Because like you can also like you could do this like in yellow. You know, like this like sickly grain that like really falls on yellow, like you know baby snot almost kind of color. Um, that's like a fine cut. That's like a fine color to have like all of your glowy stuff. I think it's a hard color to do, but when you pull it off, it looks really nice. Oh yeah, okay, we're in business now. What is going on? Like shaking. Is the army in the streets? What the fuck is going on? Okay. And this is the bigger, well, the big one. Oh, there was a tentacle over there. Whoops. Oh, still time to fix. Oh yeah, this pink is the. Well, I like this. I like where this is. For sure. Trying to like dodge the. I don't want like this color to like over like bleed basically. I don't want this glow. We want to kind of keep it to where it is, not like have it like shine onto other parts of the mini. You know, for this model, it's not a bad effect at all. Done that in the past for sure. On this very model, yeah. Just on this one specific paint job, I'm kind of happy the way that now with like a very kind of control color. Yeah. Okay. So and then this, I think these three dots here, the three, you know, the Nurgle kind of symbol. I think it's up to you to decide if you want to do this or not in like a in a different color. I'm leaning not because I don't think it knee like I don't think pointing to that knee specifically, pointing attention to that knee brings anything more to the mini. Whereas with this, I think we're on the right track with the amount of pink that's going on here. I think this is neat. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some white, like straight up white. We're not really mix it. Lord Felthius, looking good. Thank you, Prometheus. Yeah, this is yeah, and not too long too. 143, and then we really like everything was a struggle. So that's really like kind of a quick paint job, and then we're almost done with. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about where we're going. So now we're gonna take white, and then again, this is really we're keeping all of these techniques super simple. Okay, so there are a lot of other ways to do this, but now this is basically like a kind of the slap chop thing. Instead of going black and white, we're going pink to white, and then we're gonna recontrast all of this later. But again, we're not pulling a muscle. We're not doing anything complex. This is white, and it's like almost a dry brush. And if you don't feel too confident about what you're doing, do an actual dry brush. It's gonna work out just fine. I'm doing the sides first. I think doing the sides first is kind of the way, and then we're connect both sides, right? Like we did left and right side, and then we're gonna have to fill this part in. Exact same thing on the little smoke situation, the bottom, the back, sorry. The bottom, because I'm holding it side. And really, right now, my biggest like not complaint, but really the only thing that I'm thinking now is had I thought about all of this beforehand, I would not even have used the airbrush at the first step, just because it was really not necessary. We could have gotten the exact same effect with like either a very like loose sponge or a very big like dry brushing, and so we kind of could have kept this entire thing of like airbrush free and very simple without changing too much of the final result. But we kind of winged it a little bit, so I didn't know where this was heading when we got started. Um, but if you know doing this, just know that you do not need an airbrush to get to this. Very little, of this is like the air of the airbrush like shows through, especially with the wash. If Ghibli reported the OG LOC would be the best selling model. Yeah, I don't understand why the yeah, the guy with the cool guy with like the axe and the big like yeah, it's yeah, that mall is insane. Like it's so cool. I don't yeah. Especially because they must not have sold like that many of this guy, because this was like in an old starter set, but it's also like in the magazines, right? Like the is it like Dark Imperium magazines or whatever? So this guy, I got it for so cheap, secondhand, because it's been like kind of like this guy is like in every like starter stuff for like a while. So yeah, this is definitely not like their most lucrative thing. Whereas the other guy was like baller. And I also learned that this is now the new official size. So my old Lord of Contagion guy, he's on his bigger base. I think I need to rebase him. I don't know how like serious that is. In tournament, like I don't know how much of an advantage I would gain from using the the bigger base for my guy, but somebody pointed that out recently. Is like, yeah, now it's on a 40 millimeter base. The Lord. Well. Oh, does it say like 40/50? Like you could do whatever. That's interesting. I mean, I also don't care enough to like if somebody says it needs to be on a 40 mil, you can't use the let's use the power of imagination and then we'll figure out when it get there. I don't think like I'm not. It's not on a 50 mil because I'm trying to game the system. It's just it's on a 50 mil because when I got it, it was on a 50. Built it that way. I'm not trying like as much as I would understand somebody keeping it on a 50 to gain an advantage. This is not the case where we can kind of intent this, or like if I was using the right base, it would look something like this. Like I've done this a bunch of time with like the scouts were like super late to be updated to the 28 millimeter bases, and a lot of people are like using them on like 25. I'm like, well, it's an actual drawback I think for most part, except like maybe like trying to sneak them in from like reserves or whatever. You occupy less ground with your footprint. In terms of like scouting them ahead of the game, it's a drawback having the smaller bases. But then when you're and words are hard today. When you're playing and you're trying to like deep strike them or reserve them, the smaller footprint bonus. So. See, yeah, this is kind of stupid. This little glowy like we did not really put much effort into this, and yet we get like a good like from a tabletop distance, we're getting like a really good glowy. So I'm telling you, pink is like a pink. Just you enjoy Dead Guard. Don't question it. Don't ask yourself why is pink awesome. Just my guy that's gonna be a pink model. Your guy is gonna play an awesome model. That's what you're gonna do. Stupid. It isn't like this. If this took us, this is a 3-color thing. It took exactly 0 skill, and it has no business looking like this for 3-color 0 skill. I'll tell you. I like the this guy. It looks the bowling ball thing looks so idiotic. I like this model just because I think it looks like this is the like peak Nurgle. Like it looks dumb to me. So I kind of like it because it's so over the top stupid. Like this guy is way too much. Like he's too much. Like this is designed by an 8-year-old. What should we put on the Dead Guard mini? Everything. Do you want tentacles? Yes. Do you want a bowling ball? Yes. Do you want a sight? Yes. Smoke? Yes. Horns? Please and thank you. Like there's it's too much. I'm okay. Okay, so honestly, this is pretty neat for like the amount of time. Like having an army like this takes like very little effort, and we could speed run this whole affair. And I'm kind of tempted to ditch my turquoise one. But I'm not gonna do that just yet. But I'm tempted. I'm tempted, especially because we have Felthius, the bowling ball master, Kingpin himself. Oh, we're probably next week. Well, I'm gonna slam down some black on this base here. Next week, I am thinking of doing Thanksgiving thing because it's Canadian Thanksgiving. I believe is next Monday. Maybe the one after. I'm bad at dates. So we're probably gonna do a special stream on that Monday, whenever that is. Maybe it's not next week; it's the week after that. But I vaguely recall it was on the 13th. So. And then since it's Thanksgiving, we're gonna do Thanksgiving. That's the idea anyway. And then next Thursday for like the regular stream is going to be a Space Wolf. Probably. I'm leaning towards Ragnar. I feel like Ragnar is an easier. Maybe not like no, it's not definitely not easy. I'm feeling like Ragnar is probably the one I wanted. It can be Ragnar or the wizard guy Njal. Uh, Technically, it could also be the stupid Terminator guy, but I would like to do the Terminator guy at the same time as I'm doing the Terminators because this is a commission piece. But we could also do Arjak, Fist of Rock. So that's next Thursday, and then I still have not figured out when to do the frickin' Magnus guy. But that's coming, you know, the 1,000 subscriber thing. Celebrate good times. Thing. I'm not in the. Still not scheduled up on me. I mean, changing the base to like all black, right? Well, the goal is not to leave it all black, but just changing the base to black really sets this miniature up. Like it changes the dynamic because now it's no longer like all like this brown that kind of matches the original color. And now we could do like a gray base that's completely off on this mini. By completely off, I mean like none of there's really no gray and like barely any black on the entire thing. So having a gray base is a very interesting thing. Because the alternative would be a color very similar to this without the shading. So like beige sand that's not too yellowish. Would have been kind of a very interesting color as well. But honestly, I think gray is the smarter choice because you don't really need a whole lot. Like you want a matte base so that the guy the guy kind of stands apart on the base. If I think if either you do like a gray base because it's really like it's a flat like kind of a flat canvas, or you go all in and you do like a rusty brown base so that the green and the pink then stand out, and then your guy kind of. I think those are like the two best options here. And I don't want to watch. I don't want you guys to watch paint dry. I think we're just gonna finish the couple of extra details. And then I think I'm probably just gonna paint it gray, but at a later time. And then I'll post this guy on the media sociales. Once it's done, like this afternoon. Well, I'm not gonna post it this afternoon, but it's probably gonna be done this afternoon. But yeah, so I think for something quick that like started off with like 3 mistakes in a row, we really Bob Ross the shit out of this guy today, so that's pretty cool. If you guys have a preference between Njal and Ragnar, do let me know ahead of I guess Monday is when I usually post these things. And that's going to be our next stream. And then stay tuned for the Thanksgiving special. And as usual, thanks for the support during the stream today. It was really fun. I had a blast doing this. And until next time, no excuses. Hobby like champions.